How many times have you sat down and reworked your budget? Do you feel like you can never create a budget that actually works? So you just end up redoing it every single time, and then when it's time to budget again, you just repeat the same cycle over and over and over again. That, my friend, is what this episode is all about. It's how to set up and create a budget that will actually work for you. No more redoing it for the sake of redoing it. This episode, it's the key to setting up a budget that you can actually stick to and works for you every single time, taking the stress off and removing the financial overwhelm. So go get your drink, open your heart to God, and let's dive in. If you're ready to build wealth, ensure financial security, stop overspending, and finally create a budget you can stick to, you mama are in the right place. Hi, I'm Molly, a budget coach and financial strategist who went from living paycheck to paycheck to paying off debt, saving money, and going on vacation, all by budgeting. And I help mamas just like you budget and create God-centered systems and routines so that you too can have financial freedom. Now stop pinching those pennies and let's dive in. All right, so picture this. It's payday, you sit down to budget, you pay your bills, you quickly and easily decide where everything else needs to go, you confidently put your planner away knowing that you made the best decision for your family, and the best part of it, it only took 20 minutes. There was no stress. There was no worrying. You knew that everything was taken care of, and you didn't have to worry about following it or not because you have systems in place that keep you on budget with little effort. This, my friend, could be your reality. The stress, the worry, the overwhelm you're carrying around, wondering if you're going to be able to cover all the expenses that are going to come up this pay cycle, can quickly and easily be replaced by peace. When you get coached by me, I walk you through my predictable paycheck method, and the best part is that you can release the fear and release the stress with only one call. With only a few systems in place, you will be walking in consistency and no longer living paycheck to paycheck. In 2 calls, you'll be swimming in predictability and living in financial peace. In 3 calls, you will have the entire predictable paycheck method in place, and that story that I just had you picture will be your reality. There's no questioning. It will become your reality when you work with me. It's time for you to implement my predictable paycheck method so that you can release the worry and fear and embrace peace in your budget and confidence in your decision making. Do not wait any longer. Go book your first call now by going to calendly.com/Molly Bunnell. That's calendly.com/Molly Bunnell. Now, I do want to let you know that I am nearing the due date of bringing this beautiful baby that's been so fun to carry, right? Into the world, and I do have a limited availability because I am going to take time off when this baby comes. So, if you are ready to get your budget back on track and you want it done before the new year so that you can actually start the year out strong, then you need to go book your call now before spots sell out. Again, the link is www.calendly.com/Molly Bunnell. Alrighty, before I jump too deep into this episode, I do want to give you a forewarning. I am fighting a little bit of a cold, so my voice could crack on you. So you're going to have me huffing and puffing from, barely having any breathing room from this baby, and from the cold that I came down with a few days ago. So this is going to be fun. Let's try to get through this in one piece, right? Okay, so we are talking about why your budget may not be working, right? Because that is something that is very stressful. I know that when I first started budgeting, before I put this system in place, it was hard. It was unpredictable, and I essentially just got rid of my budget. Yes, I loved the budget that I created. I spent hours upon hours creating something that worked interchangeably from one sheet to another in Excel, and it was beautiful and it was awesome. And then I went to use it, and it was not easy. It was not simple. And it was more work than I really wanted to put into budgeting, right? As a mom, whether you consider yourself busy or not, it's still time consuming to do the traditional style of budgeting. So what did I do? I just got rid of my budget. There was no way I was going to be able to follow it. And that's why I started the system where I would just take care of everything that was important first. So I would pay bills. We would buy groceries that very next weekend that it came up, like when the paycheck came. And we would save enough money for gas, and whatever was left over, we would just do whatever with, right? This was simply just getting by. It wasn't growth. It wasn't getting me where we wanted to be. We wanted to be able to do so much more with our money, but we didn't know how to. And this was the only way we really knew how to, cover everything that needed covered, but we weren't covering everything. We were just covering the right now, the in the moment. We weren't thinking to the future and the future bills that we were going to have to pay. We were just taking care of the day-to-day stuff. We were living paycheck to paycheck, and it just was a struggle. It was not easy. And frankly, I don't know if it was more difficult than if I would have actually attempted to stick to the traditional style of budgeting. But anyways, I knew it wasn't working. And so that is why I put this system that I have in place, my predictable paycheck method that I finally came up with a name for, and I love it. I hope you love it too. I hope it resonates with you as much as it does me. Like, as soon as I heard predictable, I'm like, oh yes, that is it 100%. But with this method, I am able to cover more things than just the right now. I'm able to plan for the future. I'm able to do so much more with my money than I ever could have before. And it's not because we got more income. Like, yes, my husband has changed jobs and the amount of income we've brought in has fluctuated, and it has gotten to increase more than what it was when I was doing the just flow with it system. But that is not the reason why we are able to do more with our money, because if I would not have changed this system and put the predictable paycheck method into place, then we would still be spending everything right then and there, not really saving up for anything. The only savings that we had then was the money that came in from tax returns. That's how we saved our money. And it just feels so silly now. Like we weren't thinking about the future. We didn't really know how to. And then when this system came into place, it's like everything just brought clarity. And it was just so much easier to be able to stick to the budget, right? So let's dive in to the 6 things that every budget needs in order to work. Alrighty, so the first thing is predictability. And yes, this goes with the name of my method, right? But predictability is so important in your budget because it allows you to know what you're doing before you sit down to do it. Predictability in my system is brought with my base budget because that is how I'm able to figure out exactly how much money is going to what, and I make my numbers consistent, right? It's the same number every single time I sit down to paycheck, or every time I sit down to plan out my paychecks. The numbers don't change in my categories in the accounts that I transfer my money to, and the ability to be able to have my base budget comes on with my bills system, because my bills system is how I'm able to make my paycheck numbers consistent, because I'm pulling the same amount every single paycheck to pay for all of my bills. Like, it's not the up and down roller coaster that comes with paying your bills as they come, right? You're still able to pay your bills as they come, but you have it saved up in a savings or in an account, a bills account, and that's how you pay for it. And as they come up, you take the money out, and every paycheck you put the same amount in, and it just makes life so much simpler. It makes your budget predictable, and that is where your peace of mind comes from. Okay, the second thing that you get, or that you need, right, for your budget is diligence. So diligence, and this makes me laugh because I've got this devotional for my kids to help them learn character traits, and one of them is diligence. And every time I see it, I think of the definition that they said, and I'm just like summing it up, but it's essentially showing up and doing your best even when you don't want to do it, right? So in order for your budget to work, you have to be diligent. And with the system that I have, it's not hard to do the work. It's quite simple. It's quite easy. At first, yeah, you have to be diligent in setting it up, but then it only takes like 20 minutes to go in and implement the system. It's not difficult. It's super simple. It's quick and easy, and it just is so not stressful, right? You make a simple system that isn't overwhelming, so that every time you sit down to budget, you are following through with ease, right? And that is what I have with my paycheck plan. My paycheck plans that I implement that come from the base budget, the predictable, consistent numbers, are then put into my paycheck plan. And then all I have to do is go through and like divvy out the remaining income where it needs to go, which I've already planned out where it's going to go based off of the goals that I've set and the priorities in which I've put it in number, like what order I've put it in priority. That's where that money goes first. And then when it's gone, it's gone. Now, if there's something that comes up, I can put that money towards that first and then put it towards my goal priorities, right? There are so many different ways to do it, and it's easy to do it, but it's a way to be able to quickly and diligently do the work that maybe you don't want to do, right? The third thing then is repeatability. And as you can see, these are all building upon one another, building and creating a strong system that's going to withstand the craziness of life, right? So if your budget is repeatable, you have a simple system in place that allows you to do the same thing every single time you sit down to budget. Now, you may say the predictability piece and the repeatability may sound like they are the same, but predictability that you get from your base budget is not just consistent numbers. It's also the ability to be able to make solid financial decisions because your budget is repeatable, because you have a paycheck plan in place, you have the base budget in place, and you know how much money is going where. That is how you get a predictable budget, is through the diligence that you put into place, through a budget that is repeatable. Then the fourth thing is minimal decision making, which again is just building onto that predictability. When you have minimal decision making, you have a plan in place where all decisions are already made, and all you have to do is sit down and implement the system. You simply sit down, move the money where you've already made your decisions, and move on with life. Now, like I said, there may be some things that come up and you got to cover them before you can cover your goals. And that may mean that your goals take a back seat for a moment, but that is okay. That is what you want from your budget. You want that ability, that margin in your budget to be able to allow you to have that breathing room. Otherwise, you're going to be huffing and puffing like I am right now because I can't breathe very well. Right? And so that is why it's so important to have these pieces in place so that your budget is easy to implement. Okay, so number 5 is automation. So if you have a predictable, consistent, repeatable plan, a budget that you already know what's gonna happen, right? You can automate it really quickly and really easily, whether that's actually going and setting up automatic transfers for bills, or you set up a holding account where your money comes into, and then you transfer it all out from there into your accounts for your digital cash envelope system. Then you can do it that way. But you can also go, okay, I know what these numbers are. You can sit down quickly and easily transfer them by hand, and it's still automated because you are doing it quicker without having to think, without having to say, oh, is this the right amount? You've already made the decision. You just have to implement the plan. The 6th thing then is minimal tracking. So the traditional tracking system, like I mentioned earlier, is a lot of work. It's not just simply you sit down and you track how much money is remaining in your account when you have a budget. Like that's how you keep track of how much money is in your account, right? But when you have a budget and you're trying to divvy each amount up, and you're pretty much just putting it all on the same tracker in order to track the expenses because it's all in one account, it can get really confusing and create a headache, because then you're like, well, what category is this expense in? What category is this expense in? Then you got to go through the entire month and go, okay, well, this was in this category, this was in this category, this was in this category, and then just add it up at the end. It's kind of just like if you want to follow it and make sure it works and track it throughout the month, it's not really a system that allows that to happen, right? It's really hard to follow it and keep track of it as like in the moment as you're doing things. Instead, it's kind of a track it all, divvy it up at the end, and see where you were at. See what you ended up actually doing, right? Instead of being able to follow it and say, oh, well, I can't buy that because I've already spent everything in that category. That's just not something that worked for me. It was really hard to in the moment track, and I like to be able to say yes or no and make a solid financial decision based off of what is actually happening, what is current, not just go back and track it and see what I did in the past. That's not the way that I like to do things. And so with the digital cash envelope system, having everything divvied out into their own accounts, now there may be some categories that are in one account, right? You may have a few things like food, and maybe you do your gas together and your own personal spending in one account. Like that's fine, but that's still a lot more minimal like tracking versus having everything in one account, right? So you can set up your digital cash envelope system however you like, but by still divvying out the amount and not having it all in one account, it's so much easier to track in the moment, which is how you're able to stay on track and stay on budget, right? You're able to see what's actually happening in the moment versus going back and just hoping and praying that you stayed on budget when you don't actually know what was going on throughout the month. So that is another way that your budget works, is by having a tracking system that is current versus looking at it in the past, right? Okay. And then I do have a seventh one, and I'm sure you know where this is going to go, and it probably should have been first. But the seventh thing that you need in order to stay on budget and make sure that your budget works is God. Yes, I know that may not seem like something tactical that you need, but you need God. You need to be able to lean on Him, to submit your plan to Him and trust that He will change and direct or redirect your path and your actions in a way that are actually going to benefit you and your family better than you ever could. Instead of you trying to strong arm it all the way through, force it to work, make it work, and then life comes in and it blows you off track and you just like melt and break down. This is how that is prevented. Now, yes, you are going to have the systems in place. You are going to have the predictable plan that allows you to be diligent. It's repeatable. You have your decisions already made at the very beginning, so you can automate it. You'll have your tracking in time versus in the past, but that doesn't mean that it's like 100% going to work all the time. You still know that life's going to happen because nothing is perfect. Only God is perfect, and He's the only way that you're going to be able to stay on track, even when that crazy thing comes in that you tried so hard to prep for, but because you didn't know what it was, you couldn't, and it's blown up your entire budget, right? That happens, and how you keep from like exploding and breaking down and just throwing the budget out the window is by leaning on God and trusting and putting your hope and your faith in Him rather than in your own abilities, because your abilities are very small compared to what it is that God can do. So with that being said, this one's kind of short and to the point. But with that being said, I just really hope that this helps open your eyes to a budget that's so much simpler to take on, right? Not something that feels stressful and overwhelming like the traditional style of budgeting. Like to me, that's like a dreaming budget. You go, oh yeah, I want to do this and I want to do that, but it's not reality because it's not based off of what you're actually doing, and you're actually like not able to track it in the moment. So you're just hoping and praying that you're able to stick to it, and everything's just in your brain, and that just clutters up brain space. So this system, the predictable paycheck method, allows you to be able to see everything in real time. It allows you to be able to take what you know and implement a system that allows you to have margin, that sets you up right away for saving, rather than just going, oh, well, I want to save, and then it's kind of just a pipe dream that goes down the drain because you spend it all instead of saving it, right? It's something that you can do quickly. It allows you to get your decisions made right on track, right on time, at the very beginning, and all you have to do is go in and do it. You can also track what you're doing in the moment, making more solid financial decisions of whether you should buy something or not. And it makes it so much easier to just have stability and security and peace of mind with this budget. So if this is something that is really resonating with you and you are ready to just learn more about it or dive headfirst, then please reach out to me if you have any questions. Otherwise, go to calendly.com/Benel and book yourself a call so that we can get your budget set up for predictable, consistent, repeatable, automated, all these things that I talked about in today's episode, because that is where your budget is going to be able to work when you have all of the pieces in place. And that's what I feel like a traditional budget kind of lacks in. It's just got one or two of the pieces, And then it's kind of like relying on you to be really, really, really diligent to a place where it can be stressful and overwhelming just to stay on budget. And this system is not stressful and overwhelming to stay on budget. It's pretty simple, it's straightforward, and you can see everything. When you're able to see everything that is going on in your finances, that is when you are able to be confident in your decision making because you know what's actually happening. You can see what's happening in real time versus in the past, right? Okay, so again, go book your call now because like I said earlier, spots are limited as I am going to be taking time off when this baby comes, which is going to be mid-December sometime. So make sure that you get a call with me so that we can start putting this predictable budgeting system, paycheck plan, that's what I'm trying to say, the predictable paycheck method, there we go. It's a new thing. I don't have it written down, so I'm trying to remember it. Anyways, to get it in place now so that when the new year comes, you can start your year out strong and you can also set yourself up for success for the coming holiday because the holidays can definitely make or break your budget real fast, real quickly, right? So grab yourself a call, go to www.calendly.com/Molly Bunnell. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me at mollybunnell@gmail.com. And if you didn't catch those links, you can also find them in the show notes. Hey mama, I pray that today's episode has inspired you and grew you. If so, will you please share it with that friend who is praying for a budget breakthrough and leave a rating and review so that you can help get the podcast out to other mamas struggling with their budget. Also, get some support for yourself by joining my free Facebook group and becoming an insider where you get weekly support emails and are the first to find out when something new is on its way. You can find the links in the show notes, and I will see you right back here next Tuesday.